In my coaching and counseling practice, I talk with a lot of people who are in pain. Husbands fail to love their wives, wives disrespect or hurt their husbands, friends disappoint one another, and sometimes we just struggle to get along peaceably. Yet Jesus tells us as Christians that we're to be branded by our extravagant love for one another. Even more challenging is Jesus' command to love our enemies and to forgive those who mistreat us and hurt us. But how do we balance these commands of Christ with the biblical mandates also to speak the truth in love, to be the salt and light of the world, to confront sin, to go to someone when they sin against us, and to admonish the unruly? It isn't always clear when we ought to just put up with one another's weaknesses and be patient with them, or whether we should confront a person directly about his or her sin. So here are some guidelines to help you decide whether you should be quiet, forbear, or whether you should speak up and confront. First, forbearance is a very good spiritual discipline to practice. Jesus reminds us to take the log out of our own eye before we try to remove the speck in someone else's eye. And so forbearing with one another's sin means that we learn to live graciously with one another's weaknesses and faults because we all have them. Instead of practicing biblical forbearance, though, sometimes we choose outer silence, but we nurse this inner discontent, anger, or resentment. But by keeping quiet, we may preserve an illusion of peace, but it's not biblical peace, and it often results in further conflict and alienation, not to mention these feelings of bitterness and resentment. Forbearance doesn't simply mean being passive or quiet when someone does something wrong or hurts us. Forbearance actively works to understand, accept, forgive, and let go of an offense, all without ever talking directly to the person about it. Second, when you decide that you need to speak up about an offense or something bothers you, it's an important thing that you not just thoughtlessly blurt out your feelings or your thoughts without any regard for the well-being of the other person or the relationship. Because when we do that, it's sort of like vomiting on someone. It sure feels better getting it out. But honestly, vomit belongs in the toilet and not another person. So better to take some time out to vomit it out on your first draft in a notebook or in a journal so that you can better decide what exactly needs to be said for the purpose of someone understanding and for reconciliation of the relationship. So here are 3 situations where I think speaking up instead of forbearing is the better choice. First, if there's something going on that's dishonoring God. Remember when Queen Esther was told of Haman's wicked plan to have all the Jews exterminated? She knew this was not a time to forbear or keep quiet or passive, but to speak out. But she didn't do it rashly, but prayerfully and thoughtfully. You might want to take a look at the book of Esther for the full story. She was afraid, but she knew speaking up was the right choice. The second time it's better to speak up is when the matter hurts the other person. The Bible tells us that we're to be faithful to our friends and our friendships, and that means if we observe someone caught in a repetitive, harmful sin or habit, it's best if we speak to them about it. So do you have a friend who's flirting with disaster, tempted by an affair, being abusive toward their child or their spouse, fooling around with drugs, abusing alcohol? So many people have told me that they just wished someone would have come alongside of them and lovingly warned them before they fell off the cliff. Hebrews tells us to encourage one another day after day, lest any one of us become hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. And the third time it's best to speak up is when the matter has damaged your relationship with someone. You see, when someone repeatedly or grievously sins against you, it is no longer time for forbearance. It's time for you to speak up. Both Matthew 5 and Matthew 18 tell us that if someone has sinned against us, or if we have something against some other person, we're to go and make peace before presenting our offering. Our relationship has been damaged and hurt by something someone has done to us. And this isn't the time to forbear. Or we can't forbear. Even if we try to forbear, we're just not able to let it go. It's eating us up inside, and it's harming our relationship with this person. Now is the time to speak up, or the relationship will deteriorate even more. You want to know how? Well, like Queen Esther did, you need to have a plan. So if you'd like to read my free report, just click here on how to have a difficult discussion, and you get the free report on how to do that. Take care, and God bless.